Hello my friends, it's a pleasure having you back here on Will EduTech, and in this video we're going to be looking at question 4a. This question usually falls under the general topic measurements on your syllabus, and this question was taken from the January 2012 CSEC math exam past paper. Now quickly let's get into it. So let's pull up the screen a bit so we can see the question in its entirety. Now the question states the following is an extract from a bus schedule, and if you notice here I have a nice little diagram, a visual to make the lesson a bit more appealing for you guys. Here I took a picture of a JUTC bus, and the JUTC simply means the Jamaica Urban Transit Company. That's the bus service that is run by the government. That services the corporate area of Jamaica, which is Kingston and St. Andrew. Okay, so I just thought I would have that little picture there for you so that it could appeal to you. You could make more sense and have a more connection with what is happening, okay, rather than just simply text. Okay guys, let's move. Now the bus begins its journey at Belleview, travels to Chagville, and ends its journey at St. Andrews. And here we have the route, okay, from Bellevue to Chagville, and then from Chagville to St. Andrew. And we have the respective times at the different terminals, okay. Now here they have given us a table, the towns, Bellevue, Chagville, and St. Andrew, and the arrival times and the departure times, okay. You can always pause the video and make note of that. Now in part 1, now they're asking how long rather did the bus spend at Chagville. Now if you notice here we have Chagville. We could use a table, or you could look at the diagram. The information is adequately there. Now Chagville, the bus arrived at Chagville 7:35 a.m. and it departed at 7:45 a.m. Okay, so to find out how long the bus spent at Chagville, let me just change my marker. Okay, for part 1, let's calculate part 1. Now the time the bus spent at Chagville, we could simply say 7:35 and 7:45. I could rewrite that as 7:45 is the same as 7 hours. Okay, my friends, the 7 mean hours and the 45 mean minutes. So that's the same as 7:45, 7 hours and 45 minutes. Okay, and I could just simply subtract from that the time that the bus arrived. Okay, so I'm subtracting from that 7 hours and 35 minutes, okay, to calculate the time spent. So let's just draw our line and let's subtract. Now really what we have here, 5 minus 5 will leave us with a 0. Okay, we have minutes in this column, so let's just bring back down our minutes, and 3 from 4 will leave us with a 1. Okay, and 7 from 7 will leave us with 0. Okay, so therefore remember this is a worded problem, and in math when we're given a worded problem we must present our answers in words. So we can say therefore the bus spent 10 minutes at Chagville. Okay, okay my friends, there we have it. The bus spent 10 minutes at Chagville. And if you're not seeing this, another way you could look at it, you could, okay, so if you're not seeing it this way, you could always look at it that way, where you call yourself 7:35 and count fingers from 35 to 45, and then check how many fingers you would have counted. All right, that's another simple way of looking at it. I like to, by now you should know that I like to explain a concept more than one ways. All right, now let's get into part 2. How long did the bus take to travel from Bellevue to Chagville? So really what they're asking us now, my friends, they're asking us this distance here from Bellevue to Chagville. So the bus is presently where it's at now. It's at Bellevue here. That's Bellevue. So they want to know how long did it take to travel from there to Chagville, which is this location here, Chagville. All right, so let's just calculate that quickly. What I'm going to do, I need a little bit more space, so I'm just going to bring down this diagram. Now Well, my friends, to answer part 2, where they're asking us how long did the bus take to travel from Bellevue to Chagville. Now, simply as I've drawn the red line here, we're going to calculate the time that the bus took from Bellevue to get to Chagville. So let's quickly get into that in part 2. Let me just make a note of that. Part 2. Now, a simple way of looking at this, guys, is this. If you notice, the bus departed from Bellevue at 6:40 a.m. Okay, and it arrived at Chagville 7:35 a.m. Okay, so a very easy way to look at that based on the concept, you could say how many minutes from 6:40. I'm going to say 6:40 a.m. 6:40 a.m. to 7 a.m. Okay, 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning. How many minutes would that be? And we know that from 6:40 to 7 o'clock, that would give us 20 minutes. Okay, my friends, that would be a total of 20 minutes. And then again, I can say since it departed, so it simply means that it reached at Chagville at 7:35, and then it departed at 7:45 a.m. So what I'm really focusing on right now is the arrival. Okay, so the arrival right there. Okay, 7:45 a.m. So what I'm gonna say again now, from 7 o'clock, I'm checking now from 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning down to 7:35 when it reached. Because if it left 6:40 a.m. and it arrived in Chagville at 7:35. So I'm moving from 7 to 35 a.m. now. Okay? a.m. And we all know that from 7 to 7:35, that would be a total of 35 minutes. Okay, my friends? To be a total of 35 minutes. So simply what we can do now, we can just simply add these minutes and see how many minutes we arrived at. So we are saying 5 plus 0, that would give me a 5, and 3 plus 2 would give me another 5. So basically what we're saying here is that the bus took 55 minutes from Bellevue to Chagville. Okay, so let's just insert that quickly. So right here, we're just simply saying the bus took a total of 55 minutes to get from Bellevue to Chagville. All right, and we have to make a statement. So my friends, here we have our statement. The bus took 55 minutes from Bellevue to Chagville. And remember, it's a worded problem. So after you're through with your calculations, you should always present your answers in words. Okay, let's quickly move on now. Part 3, I think I may have to just pull this up a bit to get a little bit. Now, in calculating part 3, my friends, they're stating here the bus traveled an average speed of 54 kilometers from Bellevue to Chagville. Calculating kilometers, the distance from Bellevue to Chagville. So basically what they're asking us, that from the terminus at Bellevue to the terminus at Chagville, okay, they want us to calculate this distance here along this blue line. Now, given the fact that they gave us the average speed, and also in part 2, if you remember, we found the time taken, then it's easy to calculate the distance that the bus would have traveled. And we can look at this algebraically. So quickly, let's just get into it. Let me just change my marker. So this is part 3. Okay, my friends. So basically, we know that we know that average speed rather. So let me just make a note of it. Average speed. Speed is equal to total distance, the total distance over time taken. Okay, all over time taken. Okay, now given the fact that they have given us most of this information, and part of it we would have found already taken, yeah, we're just going to be substituting values now. Okay, my friends. Now basically what is happening here, if you notice here, they gave us the average speed. I said that, and I'm putting this in a rectangular box here. They gave us the average speed to be 54 kilometers per hour, and we had already found the time taken to get to Chagville. We have already calculated that in part 2. So let's just do some substitution now. What I'm gonna do first, however, since they gave us the average, and let me just make a note here, the average speed up top that I've circled in the rectangular box to be 54 kilometers per hour. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to convert my hour to minutes, okay, since I have minutes here working with for my answer there in regards to the time taken. So basically what I can say here, I can say there is a total of 60 minutes in 1 hour. Okay, so 1 hour is the same as 60 minutes. All right, you want to work with similar units when working in math. Okay, so my average speed is really 54 kilometers over 60 minutes. Okay, so let's just change the color. So I would have, for my average speed here, I would have 54 kilometers over my time, which is 60 minutes, and that is equal to the total distance that they're asking us to find. Okay, so we could just make a quick statement by saying let x be the total distance, or let d rather be the total distance. Okay, my friends, there we have made our statement. Let d be the distance from Bellevue to Chagville, because you don't want to introduce a variable and the examiner don't know what you're speaking about. Okay, so here we have just substituted our average speed on this side. Average speed, which they gave to us, average speed is 54 kilometers per hour. So we just converted our hours or hour to minutes, 54 over 60, and we're just going to equate that to the total distance, which is d, that's what we're trying to find, over the time taken, which is 55 minutes, which we have found in the previous exercise. Now just let's quickly finish up this question. So this is d over my 55 minutes. Okay, and this is pretty much easy herein. We have an algebraic equation, so we can just simply solve by cross multiplying. Okay, or let me just pull this up a bit because we may need a little bit more space to work with. All right, now simply put, as I was saying before, since we have a fraction on this side and we have a fraction there, we could simply cross multiply or multiply through by our denominators. Okay, so I could say 54 multiplied by 55 like that. Okay, and then I could say then that my 60 times d. Okay, so basically what I would get from that is 60 times d would give me a 60d, all right, and that would be equal to 54 times 55, then that would give me 2,970. Okay, now since I want to find the value of d, I would have to divide through by 60. Okay, my friends, so what I do to one side, I have to do to the next side, and I divide through by 60 because 60 was multiplying d here, so I have to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So 60 would cancel 60, leaving me with my d is equal to, and 60 into itself goes, well, 2,970 divided by 60, we would get for our answer 49.5 kilometers. Okay, so really the distance here now, my friends, the distance from Bellevue to Chagville is 49.5 kilometers. Sorry about that, let me just put on my m out there. Okay, kilometers. All right, and again, you could make your statement. It's a worded problem, so you could just make a worded statement to present your answers. Okay, it's that easy. However, if you're not seeing it this way, there's another way you could look at it, and quickly let me just introduce you to that. Now, my friends, another way of looking at it, here they gave us the average speed, which is 54 kilometers per hour. So basically what you could what this is saying is that for every hour the bus is traveling 54 kilometers. Okay, so for every hour, or as we have converted our hours to minutes before, so I can then say for every 60 minutes, okay, for every 60 minutes the bus is traveling 54 kilometers. Okay, 54 kilometers. That's what the statement there is saying. So basically, what I would want to find is how far is the bus traveling per minute in every minute. So for 1 minute, okay, my friends, for 1 minute, the bus would have traveled, obviously, if it traveled 54 kilometers in 60 minutes, and I want to know how far or how many kilometers it is traveling per minute, then I would basically have to say 54 divided by 60. Okay, 54 divided by 60, and that would give me a 0.9 kilometers. All right, now for every minute the bus is traveling 0.9 kilometers. Now since I found the distance being traveled per minute, or in each minute the bus traveled 0.9 kilometers, let me put on my M there, then if the bus had traveled here in part 2 for 55 minutes to get to Chagville from Bellevue, then it simply means then my total distance, my friends, my total distance from Bellevue to Chagville must be equal to my 55 that I got here in part 2 for my answer, 55 multiplied by the distance it is traveling per minute, and that would be equal to 49.5 kilometers. Okay, and if I should scroll down a little bit, you would see for yourself here that we had arrived at the same answers. All right, here we had a 49.5 kilometers for our answer when we use the second method, and here when we use the first method we got the same answer. Okay, so you feel free to choose any method that you want to. Take care. Hope this was very helpful. Feel